Always appreciate it. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. How many of you guys in the room are here for the first time today? Wow, nice. Well, welcome, guys. I know we have a couple people from who've been involved in other Million Cups across this great nation of ours, so thank you guys for coming as well. We are a place every Wednesday that you can come. In the audience, here are two dynamic entrepreneurs that are telling you what they're building here in our community. As a presenter, you can come up here, get advice from this awesome, engaged crowd that is here to help you with their connections, their advice, questions, issues of clarification, things like that. So it is kind of a symbiotic relationship. But like any good symbiotic relationship, it requires coffee. That's a terrible metaphor, because I haven't had enough coffee. But Kawa Coffee, which has 7 unique and wonderful locations throughout the Tampa Bay area, provides this coffee to us gratis. So in return, I would ask that you buy their coffee when convenient for you. So thank them for that. Thanks also to my co-organizers, Marianne, Chris, Danielle, and JJ. Thank you guys. You're the lights of my life, and you make my job much easier. You know whose job they don't make easier? It's Carly, hiding here behind the tree. Carly is responsible for 99% of the logistics, including the wonderful emails you guys get every week, both telling you who is coming to present and who presented in the past, how you can contact them, help them, and register for the events we talk about later. If you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, you're not getting that email, there's a sign-in sheet right there by the door. You will receive that email. If you are not getting it and you have signed in before, please see Carly or myself. There is potentially a question of legibility or a question of our inability to type correctly. So we'll get that worked out. 2 wonderful presenters. Our first presenter, Settle Now, is here. I will invite them up so that I can stop talking and enjoy this wonderful coffee and their presentation.
You guys for coming out today. I want to introduce the Settle Now Corporation. We're found here in St. Petersburg, Florida, the base corporation. We're also on the other bays in the San Francisco Bay Area and Silicon Valley, trying to bridge both bays to make this work. Merging technology is always a difficult thing, and the technology usually flows west-east, but we're trying to kind of merge the two. So I want to start.
Pause you guys so your clock isn't running. Computer decided now is a good time to misbehave.
An augmentation and additional service to the legal system. It's going to require attorneys to adopt this into their portfolio of services to their clients. Just seeing it as a different way to serve their clients. Sorry?
I apologize.
It was working earlier.
We can start with the questions first, but I bet they're going to be very broad.
No, I'm not an attorney. Joe's not an attorney. We have attorneys involved, and we rely. We're 4 years old now. We started out probably as an academic think tank to try to get to the thought consensus. We've had the blessing and involvement of some of the top thought leaders in what's known as the ADR industry, alternative dispute resolution. Mediation, arbitration, facilitation, negotiation is usually encompassed in the theme of ADR. We didn't like that word ADR, alternative. We think for about 40 years the industry built themselves as the alternative to the legal system. We don't see ourselves that way. The industry in general is known as ODR, online dispute resolution. Don't really like that brand either, because the connotation is everything has to be online. If you've ever been involved in mediation, I'm sure everybody here has been involved in disputes, there's a magic that happens in the room, bringing people together. But there's a lot of foreground work that has to go on in advance of getting all your discovery together, scheduling, getting people to start to talk, and the mediation is called caucusing or private caucusing, where the mediator and the individual parties will talk. So a lot can happen in our smartphones, our pads, Skype, GoToMeeting, WebEx can be used. And then you prepare the case. The case moves along in the system. It has a blue side and a red side. Everything you disagree on starts on the red side, and then you drag and drop to the blue side. So let me start the video, and hopefully it does a good job of explaining it.
The way the conflict is resolved varies a great deal and can yield dramatically different results. However, not all conflict needs to result in litigation and a court appearance. Now, there is a better alternative. Introducing Settle Now. Settle Now helps resolve disputes by combining the latest technology with world-class customer service. No matter what stage a dispute is in, active litigation or in discovery, our services can help you reach resolution, whether working independently or with an attorney. We help you resolve your dispute with these options: completely online, in a blended model that combines online with face-to-face or with video conferencing, with assistance from our industry expert facilitators, and with mediators, arbitrators, or attorneys. As a matter of fact, our technology-enhanced dispute resolution service is the next step in the evolution of conflict resolution. Settle Now has tools that help parties better understand themselves and how they negotiate, so they obtain a much better resolution in a shorter time by using our eDNA and e-negotiation. These tools help you get the best settlement possible. Here are some of the benefits of using Settle Now. Reduce the time and travel costs of face-to-face negotiations. You can resolve conflicts anywhere, regardless of geographic boundaries and at any time. Settle Now services are accessible 24/7 from any connected device. Your files are safe in secure digital form. At last, experience the convenience of dispute resolution on your own terms. Get started today for $49 and select the right plan and price package for your dispute.
In fairness to the other presenters and keeping your all schedule 1 hour since we started, I want to go basically to questions, but let me make 2 comments. The video presented 2 concepts that I'd like you guys to leave here today. One is what was called eDNA.
My name is
and eDNA, if you've ever heard of the term emotional intelligence. When I very first heard the term emotional intelligence when I was studying conflict, I didn't like that word intelligence because the connotation again is if I say, what's your emotional intelligence and what's mine, mine's going to be better or whatever, my IQ. It's not IQ based. Every conflict has 2 parties with different emotional intelligence levels. And it's not more or less, it's just different. And if you, in our service, when you come on optionally, both parties begin with an emotional intelligence assessment. And then our facilitator will explain your outcome. If you've ever been interviewed for a Fortune 500 company, it's not unusual to have a personality test. They're trying to figure out your personality, how it blends with the culture of the company. Emotional intelligence is what you can, as an expert facilitator, when you see the results of this emotional intelligence assessment, you really see the thrust of the conflict. You see where the conflict really is. A lot of attorneys would like to have that about their clients. A lot of clients would like to have that about their attorneys because that's who they're going to have to do that. That's one concept. The second concept I want to leave you with is called e-negotiation. Again, when I was studying conflict, there's a guy that's a competitor of mine, actually, up in Canada. He wrote his dissertation 20 years ago at Cornell on e-negotiation. And when I read his dissertation, and it's long and boring like most dissertations, and I'm doing mine now, his assertion was that if you e-negotiate online versus in person, each party can get 16 to 20% more than they would have settled for. And when I read that the first time, there's no way mathematically it doesn't add up. Think about it in this final simple story. My 2 daughters here, our 21st birthday, by the way, today. So they're arguing over an orange. They both want an orange. And an adult walks in, or a mediator walks in, or an attorney walks in. What are they going to say? Slice it. It solves the conflict, 50%. But no one ever asked them why they were arguing. Let's say she had read a recipe for, it said, a peel of 1 orange zest. Okay. Second, she just wants the fruit to make the orange juice, so she needs a whole glass. Well, in theory, they could both get 100% of what they want if someone would ask them. And that's what we try to resolve in the settlement. So It's where I'll end and open up to questions.
How do you take the keyboard warrior aspect out of e-negotiation?
How do you take the keyboard away?
People tend to be more forward when they're behind a keyboard than at interface.
Oh, absolutely. You've got cultural variables of being online. There's somebody dissipated. You've got it changes the field. But what we've seen in all of our test cases is that while the dynamics change, it's the E element combined with the drag and drop through the various steps enables it to be more rapidly done, more easily, if that makes sense. But it's a recognized variable. And then there's an age part of it. The younger people, they start online, they want to be online, and that's where if they got a conflict, that's where they want to be. Do you know eBay uses this technology? 60 million disputes a year are resolved on the technology. 90% without any human intervention. They're able, because they built a big data set of settlements. You're not buying a car, selling each other a car. You didn't tell me it was wrecked. I'm upset. I get it. I don't want to return a car, but I think you charged me too much because you didn't disclose the wreck. They can go to the database and say, this is the car. It's, your Carfax probably wasn't correct. Not necessarily a bad guy. He didn't know it. It's probably a $3,500 dispute. How about that? And they suggest through forms how we might settle. And then negotiations come from that.
Well, there's another dimension also. When there's extreme emotions involved, when you're sitting across a table, that can play very negatively. When you're behind a keyboard, it's pretty abstract. You see, there's three main issues, and within the system, you actually assign points to them. So, for example, if there were a divorce and my ex wanted the baby grand piano because it was something that her grandmother had, then she could put on there and say, this is worth more than the car or the house. So that you take the emotion out. But then, as Dave said in the thesis, having this electronic fashion and also assigning points and having an understanding, a level, the online levels of playing field, essentially.
The software, when you diagram the conflict, you assign that number. You assign a numerical word about the baby green piano is important to her. And the facilitator sees that. And so you can almost see the resolve because of the conflict diagram and the numbering of the importance of those things.
In the world of legal services, one of the brands that most people know or have heard about is Legal Shield. Would you comment on that?
Shield, Legal Zoom.
Legal Shield.
What is the new one that we've been following?
Our resolution.
Our resolution.
Oh no, you're talking about
AVO. Yeah. I mean, the world of medical services, the world of every kind of service is reinventing its delivery model. Okay, and we see that as a good thing because we have competitors out there that are looking at it. We're trying to grab that segment of people that's probably just slightly above. I'm not saying we wouldn't do small claims, but in Florida, small claims is kind of $0 to $1 to $5,000. And then you got that mythical number up to whatever it is, $100,000 the contingency attorney might take. So you've got a lot of cases and a lot of disputes that's kind of where we want to play.
Is the $49 appreciate service and what are the details?
$49 is you and I have a conflict. I paid $49. It invites you to join me at Settle Now. Our current low price point is the total service is $500. So you'd have to pay $250. I'd have to pay $201 once you accept it. You get X number of hours of facilitation and X, if required, mediation. And so that's what begins it. It's a $500 service.
And the mediation services are additional.
In the baseline service, how many hours of mediation are we getting?
4 facilitation, 1 mediation.
1 hour of mediation. So if required, in the $500, you do get 1 hour of mediation. And it kind of goes up from there, scales up. It's on the website, the prices.
This is not meant to replace litigation. Okay, what this is meant to do is resolve before litigation. Now, if you are actively litigating, you can bring your attorney on. However, this is not legal service. It's conflict resolution. It's technology-enhanced conflict resolution. And if that doesn't get resolved, you can also go to the court.
Pricing Can you maybe just give us some color on how you came up with your pricing strategy, and maybe give us some comments on
We
pricing?
came up with our pricing strategy to confuse our competitors. No one really knows where this is going to be. We have a facility. I've used the term facilitator in video. I've used it in the presentation. That this is a person that likely, let's say the equivalent might be a paralegal. They do a lot of magic in a law office. Our facilitator online, when I quoted eBay, 60 million disputes, 90% without humans, we'll never be able to say that because all of our services is based on a customer service piece. So the facilitator is the person that works with you from the time you pay the $49 and to the point he or she turns it over to the mediator and says, hey, this is what we've done so far. Here's everything in the system. And the mediator can then pick it up. All the discoveries there in that. So our pricing model is based on minimal required facilitation hours, simple conflicts broken into, and step up. But you can start here and go to there.
So basically my question, and is just not for this, but I think for any product, is just pricing strategy to try to tie to price elasticity. So if you raise price or lower price, have you done the different scenarios, thinking focus groups, whatever, thinking what impact does that have to do with my whole revenue base? If I increase price by 30%, how much demand falls off, or will it stay inelastic? Have you thought about it? How did you come up with the $49 is what I'm trying to say. Why is that the magic bullet in numbers? Or could you say it's $99 and people
Well, I mean, the $49 is just really an administrative fee to get started. Now, this is clearly market entry pricing because the fact that if you take a mediator, okay? Mediator marketplace is going to be priced anywhere from $100 to $400, maybe $500 an hour, depending upon if it's a legal mediation service. So when we take a look at our pricing model, this is clearly a way to get started so that we create awareness and also say, okay, it's an entry point, and yes, we are losing money, but we have to do that to buy share. We haven't done. I mean, it's really hard to predict the difference in the fall off if you start raising prices. But we know that in terms of the value of service, this is priced less than the market is.
Right. All I'm saying is, my gut tells me I would jump for that at $49. I think most people in this room would. If you did $79, $99, people would jump just as much. Probably maybe more, because they'd say $49, what's the gimmick? Versus $99, it's somewhat tied to the market.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have a qualification of the process? What I'm asking is there has to be an assumption of law, or there has to be an assumption of the intent to sell. And I was involved in the land industry. Basically, they don't want to, they don't really want to sell. They just really want to take my land away from me. So it was, no matter what we did, it was always going to be. So there was never an intent to sell. There was never an intent to have a positive resolution for me. Only positive resolution for them. And there are those lawsuits like that, just like litigation. It's just a name. But then the reality was the law is more complicated than me and you disagreeing on this land issue. You see, there was other issues, but there in which the legal remedy ultimately became something that I don't think either one of us understood was going to be the outcome. So what would the assumptions be? Is my question.
Well, I mean, Dean was talking, Dean Lowe and does the radio St. Pete, and I was on a show, 6-7 months ago, and he says, how do you deal with it? And I said, well, we can't get over this obstacle that's killed this industry from the beginning, and it's called UPL, unauthorized practice of law. There's that assumption that there's a basis and an entry point and how to begin. There's not, I use this when I speak a lot. I say, if I was in a crowded restaurant in downtown St. Pete and I had a $100 bill, and I said, what's ADR? I'll give you $100. Maybe for some attorneys, they go, alternative dispute resolution. And I say, what's ODR? Put that back in my pocket because no one would know. The problem is how do you begin? Where do you start? Joe and I are neighbors. Joe, your fence is on my property. What is it? Joe, it is. And Then, here's the survey. Joe, come on, let's go settle now. No, the fence is not on their property. I got to sue him. Then he has to respond, because he has 30 days, or I can go get a summary judgment. Got a dispute. It's often that, you know, so that's a barrier to begin. And it's a recognized barrier. And it's just the industry, the legal industry at first didn't like mediation. Today they're way more embracing. But unfortunately the population is not. Everybody's not rushing, I'm going to buy some mediation. Because they don't know where to go. How to begin it.
Just a comment to follow things out with what you said. I think a comment on the presentation, I would start with, you know, eBay has managed to have no human interaction mediation for this many million transactions every day, and they've done it in their own marketplace. We're here to do it in this other marketplace, which I feel like it hasn't been clearly defined. Is it, you know, the neighbors whose trees fell on the lawn? Is it an employment dispute? Is it this? Is it that? So I think just a framework of, you know, here's some example types of situations that this is ideal for the target. And I guess the challenge, eBay, the buyer and seller had to go to eBay in the first place. So they have no choice but to use eBay dispute resolution when that dispute comes. How do you overcome, you know, if I'm in a dispute with another business, I want to use this platform, and I'm probably pissed off, they're probably pissed off. How do I get them to come here and do this? So how do you overcome that part of the challenge?
Every dispute has common denominators. No.
Sorry to touch you.
I'm sorry.
Surprise.
What we've done, I think, different than our competitors, is we went after verticals. And in each vertical, underneath each of these tabs, there's a description of how to take this forward. The divorce is radically different than an oil and gas dispute. And then they don't know what to do. How do we use? And then we have that attorney button right here because it's a marriage of professionals for service. This is just a platform. And get other disputes, get a long list. Right now, just where we are, real estate, human resources, the auto industry, where we're customer services, where we're emerging. And by the way, just clear, I don't want to say 90% without humans. 100% of our conflicts will involve humans because it's a human service.
So what are you doing to partner better with the legal industry, more accepting things? That could be some of your deal flow.
When I talk to attorneys, I like to talk about that 16 to 20% more than you would settle for. I like to talk to them about that 99% of cases do mediate at some point. They don't have to lead with this, but they can see this. I went and visited a household name, John Morgan, in his office. I said, what do you think? And he goes, I think you're onto something, but I'm not going to put my arm around it. I'm not going to date you in public. 99% of my cases do mediate. If you come up with a platform to select mediators, it is easy. To meet online, it's easy, and it's inexpensive. I'll keep an eye on it. Okay? That's just one. Then you got all of the legal industry, class action lawsuits. BP. This would have been a good platform for adjudication of those large settlements. So the answer is each individual type of law. Then these attorneys right now, my competitors, I heard them give a speech. You can't put that button because they don't want to come in that door the same as the consumers. And I think there's some truth to that. We're going to let it filter out and see where they come. Sort of build it. We hope they come.
Let's take a look at Greg Coleman's quote here. I mean, even he's saying the legal industry is going to have to adapt. There's different models. There's combo. You know, and we feel this has got a great place. eBay's doing the small transactions, small conflicts, small prices. This platform is applicable for many types of conflicts.
Some lawyers have said they'd like to see it just try it in some states because it allows both parties to lay the cards on the table a little bit and see where they are. And it's an inexpensive platform. So we don't really know.
Just real quick, really great. I have so many thoughts on this. But how, as you just said, that it's the middle class, right? People don't know that this is available. So how are you going to go after that market?
40 people. It's a pretty expensive brand to build, isn't it?
It
when you
is.
get integrated with those,
Yeah, what's your market
It's that right now it's survivability. Our VC advisors, mostly on the West Coast right now, said get 500 cases through from different sorts and types, prove the concept works, come back, you won't have a problem getting the money because it's going to take millions to build a brand. And I love the I-4 corridor. This is my home. I've been here 25 years. The West Coast investors are of a different mentality than the East Coast investors. So we're kind of playing what we got to build. That's the biggest obstacle. Do you agree?
No, I just said, we're partnering with our partners here, Semi-Car, and the fact is that we've got some pilots going to be starting in the next 2 weeks with real estate condo associations. Dave mentioned human resources, and we have met with a number of companies who are mediators, lawyer mediators. We feel that that's probably the first point of entry because they get it. And so as we start partnering with lawyers, then and start to build the awareness and also change the model, we feel that's where we'll start building
the European Union mandated it begins January 16th. If the conflict began online, airline ticket, gambling, buy something, it has to go to online dispute before it can even go to court. Now, is that going to happen in the United States quickly? Probably not. But the mentality, the attorneys are going to have to see themselves as a way to serve and add to the portfolio's best.
First of all, thank you guys for soldiering through our crap. I appreciate that. Where is your database of resolved disputes coming from?
When I mentioned earlier, when you have 60 million over multiple years, you get a big data set. What we did is we went to Westlaw, Lexus, and we imported like settlements in small numbers. So that database is small. As it grows, it fills. Not with Dave Puckett and Joe Cueto, none of the confidential details, but categorized by type settlement. So as we grow, it grows, and we can better serve. But again, our goal isn't 90%. You get in a group of, if you go to the ABA convention and say, we have the greatest software, the greatest platform, and 90% no human intervention. Figures will probably get thrown off. There's 5,500 plus mediators in the state of Florida. Only about 500 of them really make a living at it. They're there. You can't go 90% with that. We've got to blend. And that facilitator, I meant to say earlier, having graduated, there's 130 graduate programs in this country in universities that either offer a master's certificate, master's, or PhD in conflict resolution. But unfortunately, these people can't get jobs because when they get it done, they have to go become a 40-hour course, become a mediator, and then they're a non-lawyer mediator, and they're marginalized out. That's our population. So when we think about St. Pete, when we're pitching to the Chamber of Commerce, we want to grow jobs in this area. And we're going to have our customer service center based in this area. And then eventually, the facilitator, they could be in their underwear, as long as they have a sport. A lot of times, I'm on Skype, I'm in shorts with my sports club, but literally, the facilitator could be anywhere in the world, and you could be anywhere in the world. And it's a video delivery point.
And one more question, and I apologize for this, but how can we as a community help you?
Awareness, use. We'd like to see if some cases come out of the St. Petersburg area. Our billboards and our media will come here first. We want to prove it works in Florida, and then play both sides against the condo association stuff. We have Florida in the condo industry requires mediation, so it's an easy point for us to begin. It's a segment of the population, and just savvy car start up here. And us, we're all trying to grow right out of this area, and happy to have this opportunity to present today to build awareness and move jobs.
This morning, so thank you all for coming. You guys that are out there, we have some room up here in the front if you want to come in so you can hear it a little bit better. But again, I think Joe and David should receive another round of applause for dealing with our tax. So as always, I'm up here to tell you about some of the startup-focused events that are in the area over the next couple weeks. First off, I did want to mention that every single Wednesday, Is everyone's there? Just, okay, every single Wednesday for 1 Million Cups attendees, you have a free co-working pass at Tech Garage. So it's right down the street, awesome co-working facility. If you have any questions about it, JJ will be happy to answer those.
And he'll be here plenty late, so don't worry about that.
There you go. Startup Exchange is something we talk about pretty regularly. It's put on by the Innovation Center, which runs the Tech Garage. It's a speed dating networking for entrepreneurs. So they have experts in all different types of topics, from IP attorneys to marketing, sales, you name it. I think they have a social marketing person there this week as well. You have Geekend, which happens all throughout the weekend. Starts off this Thursday with a breakfast in Tampa, followed up by a pitch night at the Tampa Bay Wave, and then also a day to hang out at the beach in St. Pete. All of that's on Meetup and Eventbrite. And then if you have any other questions, we'll send you the direct links for it.
What did you say that is?
Geekend? When? Geekend.
Oh, okay.
It starts this there's events Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So if you just Google Geekend Tampa, you'll find it, or our mailing list, which is on the corner by the door. We'll send direct links to that at the end of the week also. And then you have another Tech Talk, Growth in the Fast Lane. That is going to be featured Agile Thought, a software development consulting firm that's growing pretty heavily here in the area. So they have a lot of their C-levels up there at the Microsoft office in Tampa talking about their growth problems and how they overcame a lot of those as well. And then you also have Tampa Bay Wave, which is another co-working facility in Tampa. They're doing a community night at the Raves. I believe it's only $30, and you get 100-row seats there, and then you also get a free t-shirt. So a lot of entrepreneurs will be there, mainly focused on the technical side, but all are welcome. So, all right, that's about it for the events, and please give a warm round of applause for Jan with Paving the Way.
Hi, good morning. I presented in Orlando, so thanks for having me here this morning. All right, so I was invited to the UN about 2 years ago to the Get Health conference, and there I really got a big eye-opening about what's going on out in the world, in particular in third world countries. There's a lot of challenges in the health and population realm with data, and I'm very clear that we could have stopped the Ebola, because I think we're now to 15,000 people that have died of Ebola. Could have stopped that had there been mobile applications and tablets out in the field for the community healthcare workers to send that data quick and now real-time information, so people could have been on the ground sooner. So from that time at the UN to now, and having conversations with people globally, I just got back from Geneva, it's very clear that the need for timely, relevant, real-time data in third world countries is huge. Now you might ask, okay, great. So who's the market and why? So Africa, most people don't know this, but Africa is about 80% cell phone penetrated. About 20% of that, 60 to 20% of that is smartphones. So they use simple cell phones. Has anybody heard of M-Pesa? No. Okay, good, yay! So M-Pesa, they actually do banking online with the very simple phone. It's pretty amazing. And so we thought, okay, well, why don't we take that same type of thought process, take it to the market, and alleviate the challenge. People are dying at a rampant rate. I was at the concert last night, the Def Leppard and Styx concert, and they were playing Armageddon and playing all the deaths from, childbirth and children dying under age 5 and HIV. And I'm like, you know what? This is needed, and it's needed now. So it's self-sustaining solutions. They have community healthcare workers out in the field. They already have mobile phones. So it's a matter of sending relevant data to a database and then having someone sitting there analyzing the data. And that's really what we're bringing to the table, is the processes, procedures, and collaboration of creating solutions that solve some of these problems. It's interesting because there's several NGOs out there attempting to do this, but what they're not doing is sharing about it, nor are they actually providing solutions. This is the only really success story I could find. It's a story about a woman named Sally, and she was pregnant, and they actually created a healthcare team for her. She was having a challenge. She actually texted her healthcare team, "I don't feel well." By the time they got there, she was lying on her mat, unconscious, profusely. The team got there in time. They were able to call the hospital, have them prepped and ready to take the baby out. And I'm happy to say, mom and baby are safe. So technology not only saved the baby, it also saved the mom. And there's a very high statistic, I'm going to say it's in the 75 to 80% range, that if a mother dies during childbirth, the likelihood of that child living beyond age 1 is very, very low. So our solution is bringing mobile and tablet applications to least served nations. There's a lot of them out there. But one guy back there going, yep, he understands, he knows. And working in the health, population, agriculture, and education realm. I was in Addis Ababa a couple of years ago, and I took my mobile app and I showed it to a lot of different people, the CEO of the International Telecommunication Union. And he was like, oh my gosh, I can use this to track crops. And I showed it to somebody else, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can actually track medication. When it gets in the country, it can actually get to where it's supposed to go. So just bringing the thought there, they started generating ideas. And that's really what we want, because within a period of time, I really want to be there, sit next to them, guide them, teach them, do knowledge transfer, and then literally have myself out of a job, or my team out of a job in 3 to 5 years. Because technology and information is really important in the third world countries, in particular Africa. So we're actually bringing the solution, the entrepreneurial thinking, beginning and middle and end thinking, to these countries. We're actually creating an orphan census project. There's a very high percentage. There's over 20 million orphans in sub-Saharan Africa. In Ethiopia, there's almost 7 million alone. And so how can I make sure that in 18 months to 24 months, if there's 10,000 girls 12 to 14 years of age, that we don't have 10,000 orphan babies? So how can I work with the Minister of Health and the Minister of Family Services to create that solution? So that's what we came up with. We actually came up with a case study, and it's very simple. It's simple text, right? But the community healthcare workers can go out and upload that data. I'm Jan Edwards. I'm the CEO and founder. I'm from Orlando, and I'm working with the medical director who is in Ethiopia and DC. And we've got several very, very high-level contacts that we're actually in the process of working with and having conversations with. So what we're looking for, phase 1 seed funding. I'm working with Magpie to actually use their data application, and so I've got that settled. It's database, and that's what we need. So there we go. Woo! 6 minutes. Okay. Hi. Yes. Question. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Jim. Why are you doing this?
Why am I doing this? So when I was at the UN, I learned about child soldiers. And I'm a mom. I've got a 22-year-old daughter. And sorry, I can't even imagine as a mom having to deal with that. I can't imagine. Right? And so to be able to provide jobs for the youth, to be able to provide information and data so the governments can actually do something, right? Actually provide solutions for them, provide education. The highest percentage of population in Africa is 12 to 22. They have nothing to do, right? There's only so much agriculture you can do. There's, if you've got 8 kids, there's only so much you can do, right? So how do we provide jobs for them? Technology is really important. They're clear that's the next wave. Because they stepped over the landline thing, they're now all on cell phones. So the next wave of that is internet service, and internet companies and internet businesses. So there's a program on CNN called Startup Africa, and there's a lot of opportunity going on over there. So if we bring technology and data and the thinking, the entrepreneurial thinking, who knows what can happen next? That's why. I'm committed that we have a world that works. Yeah.
Have you thought of a crowdfunding platform to fund your?
Have I thought of a crowdfunding platform? I have, and I get nervous about that for a couple of reasons. I have a friend who is a financial advisor, okay, are there any financial planners here that deal in the DC realm? Okay, anyway, from what I understand, you can only have a certain number of people that you give shares to in the first round. And when you do crowdfunding, he feels like the legal is going to come after that. So have I thought about it? Yes. And I'm still a little nervous about it.
They just changed the rules.
They did? Okay, that's because it's not my forte. I mean, I am a connection person. I am not a finance person.
It would be
they're nonprofit.
Right.
So you might check.
Is this a nonprofit?
No, I know, a nonprofit, that's the distinction.
Oh,
Yeah, nonprofits have a very negative connotation in third world.
oh, okay.
Yeah, if anybody's ever read the book Dead Aid, it'll be very eye-opening for you.
What is your background? What brought you into this?
What's my background? So my background is in the telecommunications industry. I worked for Time Warner and Bright House for 18 years. And I've really been an entrepreneur since then. And it was just one of those things, I'm sitting in a room and it was calling to me. I remember sitting around going, I can't believe I'm the only one hearing this. You know, and I actually have several friends here in St. Pete, they work at the Wave, and I called them from there, I'm like, dude, I think we've got an opportunity. And so that's really what started the conversation. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, but
Please.
you know, I was out in Seattle a little over a year ago, and you got the Gates Foundation out there. And I know they're a nonprofit, but they're tied to technology with what you're doing.
Yes, they are.
Have you spoken to them? Because obviously their footprint is Africa, and they're fighting some of the very same things that you're fighting. I think there would be a natural synergy between what you're doing and what they're doing.
Yeah, I think there would be a natural synergy between the Gates Foundation and what we're doing. And have I reached out to them? No, not yet. But it's a great idea. Because I'm saying it out loud, I'll know next Friday to call them.
Call them.
Sure, yeah.
So you mentioned they have 80% market penetration of cell phones.
Cell phones, yeah.
But only 20% are smartphones and I assume tablets.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything, so is everything you're doing SMS based?
No.
Are you attempting to address that and
Yes.
get greater smart? How are you doing?
Okay, great. Good question. So the question is, there's only about, most of the cell phone penetration is not smartphones. Only about 16 to 20% is smartphone penetration. So what am I doing to bridge the gap? Really great question. So a couple of things. One is we're going to develop both platforms, right? Because there are some governments that want tablets, and I think they're willing to buy them, right? I think that's maybe where the Gates Foundation could come in. Is like, hey, let's take tablets, let's go and make a difference, right? The other piece too is you got to go where the market is, and right now the market's not in the realm of smartphones yet, right? And what's interesting, it's mainly Android platform, not iOS, which is interesting to me. So maybe that might be an Apple opportunity to talk to Apple too. So that's really we want to be where the market is and prepare for the next level. To answer your question, kind of.
Just wondering, what is the avenue to get more smartphones? This is not a question for you, it's more general.
I think that would be a more telecommunications, because there's about 5 major telcos in Africa, and I think that's more of their thing, and that's one of the reasons why we want to partner with a telco over there, is to be able to bring that platform, because I'm clear, even if one village has, a laptop and a tablet, that can alter things for them. And here's the other piece too. I'm Native American Indian, and I'm Cherokee. So if anybody knows about the Trail of Tears, I don't want that happening over there, right? I'm not going to bring technology so your world's better like ours. I don't want to do that. Here's technology. Use it as it needs to be used to save lives and make a difference that you see fit versus what I say. Does that make sense? Okay, good.
So I was actually born in Ghana.
Wow.
And one of the main problems is the lack of electricity
Yes.
and consistency with that. How are you going to use that if people don't have electricity and they're going to use an iPhone? They can't
Right.
charge the iPhone.
Yes, they would. Yes, they would. So it's interesting that you say that, because one of the questions I actually had when I was at the Give Health Summit was there was a whole panel of ministers of health, ministers of energy talking about cell phones. And they have, I don't remember what country it was, but she has 3,000 cell phone towers, all run by gas generators. And I leaned over to the guy next to me and go, okay, why do they have gas generators? And he goes, because they have their roads. Why do they have their roads? Right, because you got to get, it was very new to this. 2 years ago. Corruption. Oh, okay. How do we solve that? So that's what I was thinking about the Settle Now guys. That's where my brain went. How do we bring the Settle Now guys over there? Solar. To me, solar is the solution for a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of solar, very small, simple solar solutions that can provide light for these families, that can provide charging for these families, even just for the phone, right? In my world, if I have a connection, if I'm here and I have a connection with you, Donna, right, and something happens globally, I'm like, no, we're not going to go do anything with Donna because my friend is there, right? It's not just some strange person, it's my friend. So to be able to build those kind of global connections with that age group of individuals could all do that. Did that answer your question? Okay, great. Yes?
Hi, great presentation. There's a lot of requirement in what you're doing and a high level, fantastic. What I was trying to get at is what is your first step, so to speak? You know, is it, what is your first step
My
towards,
first step.
As I understand, is it going to be data collectors on the ground for hire who specialize in various verticals? Or are you picking a vertical and you want to focus on that?
I want to pick a vertical. So the question is, how am I going to get started? I want to pick a vertical, and the vertical I'm choosing is orphans,
Okay.
in particular in Ethiopia, because there's a huge need, right? And I need a case study.
Okay.
And I have connections and friends in Ethiopia. So, and you kind of go where your friends are, and you go where it's easiest to do business.
Yeah.
And I have access to the Ethiopian government, right? So I want to go where there's a need, where there's a desire, and where I can generate a case study such that we can create a platform that's easily duplicatable and scalable, that we can pick it up and put it into the Minister of Education and the Minister of Agriculture, and then maybe the President of Senegal calls and says, hey, I see what you're doing, come on over.
So your platform is primarily going to be a smart tablet or a phone?
Here's what I would love. I would love either Microsoft or Apple, and I know there's a couple of companies in India that develop very inexpensive tablets. I would love to bring tablets because that opens a whole new world for them.
So the problem in that was a lot of nonprofits, so to speak, flooded the market with a lot of smartphones and devices, but they're not cognizant of the fact that the infrastructure is lacking. That's the main reason why they leapfrog from the traditional communication to cell phone towers.
Exactly.
So what's limiting is actually the bandwidth.
Yes.
And as long as the technology supports a smaller bandwidth, like what he was mentioning, electricity and bandwidth.
Yes.
So that's why WhatsApp is big in undeveloped countries, because they rely on text. And so as long as you can stick to the lower bandwidth, and I think you got a great...
Thank you. That's why we're starting with SMS. I mean, really, it's I want a KISS. Keep it simple, silly.
Yeah.
So clearly they need help, but don't you think that if you give them salads, for example, an apple or something like that, the people just sell them to have food or water or something like that? Because yes, there's orphans and people need something, but they can probably sell that to have just food.
So we're not, yeah, so great question. So, why would I give people tablets if people are dying of hunger and lack of water, right? Great question. I'm not giving people tablets. There's actually community healthcare workers out in the field right now that work for every country's government. And that's what they do. They literally go from village to village, hut to hut to kind of check in on people. And it's all either done on paper or memory. So instead, no. So they don't have tablets. And there might be other organizations that gave them tablets, but no, I'm not going out and giving them, no. And we also have, because I'm working with a friend of mine who's a CFO, we are adding in that piece. I'm clear a certain percentage are going to get stolen, a certain percentage, whatever that is, but they're actually already out in the field. It was the Minister of Health of Ethiopia that asked me, because I had my iPad when I was in my meeting with him, he goes, I want those. So he sees he knows where he wants to go, and it's our job to fill the gap. This is probably, 8 to 10 years away, but there's problems to be solved now.
So if they always check on the people, but if just a person, a woman, have a problem on the night, what is the possibility to just have the solution to that? They need to go outside?
Right. Right, so that's why to be able to have a community healthcare worker in every village that has, even if every village has one phone, to be able to communicate out. And there's larger challenges with that I don't want to really go into right now, but you and I can talk separately, because it's the husband's choice in most villages out in the field whether he takes his wife if she's having problems or not. So that's a completely different, it's a different conversation we can have. Yes? That's not a software problem.
If you have reached out to Peace Corps to see if they have presence.
No, I haven't. That's a great idea. You're the first person that said Peace Corps. Thank you. Yeah, because that's why I'm working with Global Hope Network International. That's why I was in Geneva. They have access to over 40 countries and 40 governments, and they go in and design villages to be self-sustaining: education, water, food, jobs, and healthcare. And they just actually had their first village graduate, Kampala. And yeah, so that's why I want to partner with people who are thinking I am, sustainability. Oh, actually, hang on. This is his first question. Back to you. Yes.
First of all, I think that you have excellent charisma, excellent stage presence, and great passion for what you do. To me, those are massively key ingredients to any successful venture. And I think a lot of people don't have the combination of all three. Like great presenters, they don't have passion. They got passion, they can't speak. You've got it all. So I think that's a huge thing in your favor. My question is this: if you are a nonprofit,
I'm not a nonprofit.
I know. If you are a nonprofit, you can take donations. People can write off. If you're for profit, they can't. Correct. So what's your revenue stream if you're not going to rely on donations?
That's a great question. Data. Data is the new currency. And partnering with those governments, right? They own the data. It's their countries, their nations, their people. I want the aggregation of the data to be able to let Eli Lilly know what's going on, let Bristol Myers Squibb know what's going on, let Procter & Gamble know what's going on. The African market, the third world countries, they are going to be where we are someday. May not be in my lifetime, but they are going to be where we are someday. And those very large companies are going to want to know what's important to them, right? And what their lifestyle is, and what the age group is, and what's important to them. So having that kind of data and being able to bundle it up and not only sell it to them, but now the WHO has access to this, the CDC has access to this, because the whole idea is, if I'm a data analyst and I'm sitting in front of a screen and I'm looking, okay, one person passed away in this particular warble, sad, normal, 1, 1, 1, 5. That's a red flag for me. You know, now I actually, as a country, have a process and a procedure to let someone know, get in there now. Right, get in there now. It's been 1 for the past month, and now there's 5. We have a problem. Let's go in and see what's going on. That's not being done right now. So that you know, to be able to first stop the disease, stop the process of something, or if there's an airborne disease or a waterborne disease, it's brand new. That can be translated. That can be solved very quickly. Yeah. So that's so.
The second half of the question. What's your lead time to get to the point where you have enough data where it turns the head of a major international corporation to say, I'll buy that from you? What's the time frame?
That's a great question. I have no idea. I'm going to be straight up. I have no idea what the lead time is to have a company go, oh my gosh, I want that data. I don't know. And here's the thing, I'm okay with that. Right now, I'm okay with I don't know. Right? Because it's going to be in the conversations with the governments and creating things together and being collaborative. That's going to arise the kind of company that I want to work with, that's going to go, you know what, I want to partner with you, because you're out to make a difference too. Okay, yes?
Just a suggestion. I'm just thinking, just listening to what you said, along with what the last gentleman said, from a standpoint of raising capital, it might be interesting to actually joint venture with the various governments, like you say in Ethiopia, give them majority interest in your company by country basis. You're the minority shareholder in the company, but then let them reach out to some Fortune 500 company, then to put it in the bricks and mortar. So the country benefits, they create equity, you create equity, and then the Microsoft, whoever would go in there, would actually have the ability to dominate that country with their technology.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
It's a win-win-win for everybody.
It creates a win for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you own the data? Are you creating the software?
That would be part of my contract. That would be part of my agreement, because I'm bringing in the data analyst, the database management. I'm bringing in the database solution. I'm bringing in the back half. They got the front half kind of taken care of. They have no idea. On the back half, it's things and systems to create sustainability and do knowledge transfer, because they really want to create jobs. ICT is huge over there, and they really want to create jobs. So that's it's part of the agreement. I'm bringing you this. This is, there's going to be a nominal fee for me coming over with my team and teaching you how to do this, right? And my big payoff's going to be the back. Yes.
What is your technology look like on that?
Well, I'm actually, it's funny because I need a CIO. All right. Again, not my bailiwick. You pointed out my strengths. Those are my strengths, right? And so I had a suggestion when I presented at 1 Million Cups in Orlando. I said I want a database partner, and somebody said, Jan, wait till you get a CIO and have them make that choice for you, right? So I'm actually talking to somebody that that works with SAP. So that's...
Talk to me afterwards,
okay.
because I have a platform that runs on this, actually I'm wearing a t-shirt right
Yeah.
now, platform.
Okay.
And it basically does semantic analysis of data for the value management bank.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
So,
okay, yeah, thank you. Awesome. Yes?
So going back to earlier comments that you made about roads and so on, and going back to this gentleman's comment. So the concept of corruption, if you're playing closely with local governments and country governments, talk to us about what do you see, what are the barriers, how do you intend to deal with it?
Yeah, so the first, okay, let me think about this. So the countries I'm going to work with in the beginning, they're countries that are about as straight up as you can get, right? And right now that's Senegal, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria. There's some hopes they get a new leader. There was someone from Nigeria speaking at the conference I was at last week, and he's got great hope because he's really going to go after solving the Boko Haram issue, right? So that's where I'm going to start.
So filtering initially.
Exactly, that's where I'm going to start. And at the same time, I really do try to put myself in somebody's shoes. Why are you that way? What is the fear? What is the concern? And can I address that? Right? Is it power? Is it money? Is it like, what is it? And at least start a conversation. And who knows where that can go from there? Not my job, but at least I can come in with something that's interesting, right? It might actually open up a dialogue about something else. And I think we're at the one last question.
You are very good. So, how can this room of people help you further your enterprise and help people across the world?
Thanks. Did somebody say something? Okay, good. Okay, great. So how you can help me? If you have a high-level contact with Microsoft, bring it on. It sounds like there's a database solution right over here.
I also know the
oh, sure. All right, great. Yay. Awesome. And yeah, and anyone you know that would like to make 12% on money over a 12-month period of time. So I'm looking for my seed funding. So that's how you can help. That's it.
Two awesome presentations today. Round of applause again for selling out. What happened, but the turnout is huge today, so that's awesome. So go keep telling your friends and family to come check us out. If you're not getting our email, again, sign up again in the back. Please continue letting everybody know that this is a great opportunity to come and present and talk about your idea. It doesn't matter really what stage you're at, even if you're just thinking the idea a little bit further along. Fill out the application on 1 Million Cups. You're not going to have to present immediately. We'll just start the conversation with you and find out when works best. So keep telling everybody about it. I've got one shameless plug today. I'm hiring for a couple positions downtown, growing my company here in St. Pete, marketing, programming, operations, and finance are the 4 positions. So,
what is your company? Would you present it here?
I don't qualify. I'm over 4 years old, but I'd love to talk to anybody if they're interested in it. Again, thank you.
What's your company name?
What do you do?
Well, I was trying to get too much into this here. We create technology for law enforcement to combat human trafficking and online child predators. And that
Ooh, we got to talk.
So that's what we do. But